Alright. Quality sucks, but visuals are not important in this. I finally figured out why that we have a whole lot of problems with current content. Alright? Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and address the main elephant in the room that no one's thinking about. We're all wrong how we're looking at this. How long does it take to farm an old raid solo? About an hour or so. Give or take. Average, an hour. Some take longer, some take less. And I'm not including Siege or Ogrimmar. Let's just not count that one because that is the longest run. And there's no shortcuts in that whatsoever. So, we'll exclude that. Now, the reason why I'm saying this now is because I had a new outlook on it. Blizzard is trying their best to make sure that new stuff cannot be used in old content. They got rid of Legion Legendaries, period, because of Shadowlands. It makes sense, right? Wrong. Here's why. See, back in Legion, a lot of people had a lot of alts in Legion that are Legion pretty good geared, which is good enough to solo pretty much a lot of older content like BC, Classic, and Wrath. Okay, we're just going to go with that example here. But here's the problem. You see, a lot of people are getting better at farming the old raids for the mounts, which is a 1% drop for most cases. And basically, once you get the mount or whatever you want from that said raid, you no longer run that raid, right? Now, a lot of people already have the mounts, but there's a lot more people that don't have it. And they have alts they can farm with Legion Legendaries, alright? You know, they don't really level up to BFA because they don't really want to play BFA storyline for the whatever blank time. I mean, for me, I had to do it at least 6 times. Not to level, just to get it to where I could get the essences unlocked. Not even cape, just essences. To where, I mean, yeah, leveling, of course, but, you know, you have to do some quests that are mandatory, which is stupid at this point in the game. But, you know, whatever have you. The main thing is, however, they're not trying to make good new content as good as they can. They're just trying to make content that is decent enough. And I repeat, decent enough to where people will still play it, but mostly, a lot of people just play it to one-shot the raids on the good expansions. Like, for example, Ice Crown Sentinel. How many people are farming Invincible versus doing heroic raids? A lot easier to do. How many people are farming the Phoenix or Rashara from the Eye? Probably a lot more people willing to do that versus Mythic plus Dungeons through Group Finder. Because you can solo that. Now, you could solo the good raid content without borrowing any of your friends. You could do that now. And the way that you can do it is how fast you can do it at this point with how many alts. With the Legion Legendaries being removed, that means that power spike that you get between Legion and BFA is going to be gone. And with that power spike being gone, it's going to be more difficult. Unless you're like 400 eye level. Or around at least 300 something. Let's just be generous with that. Because a lot of the older contents are like 100 and below. Or 150 and below for Legion stuff. You still can't solo Legion Mythics easily with every single class yet. But, however, with the removal of the Shadowlands Covenant abilities, will make it to where you had to farm really high late game gear just to one-shot things in Mythic Nighthold or Mythic Tomb of Sargeras or something. And the reason why is because if it takes you longer to do something, they get more money out of it. Flat out simple. If it takes you longer to do something, and that something doesn't happen so often, they make more money off of it. The whole reason why Shadowlands is gonna suck is because it is designed, and I repeat, designed to min-max the time of subscription based on how fast you can clear old content. That is the motivation of these decisions. I will not be surprised if the essences and the Azurite gear will be inconsequential after Shadowlands. I will not be surprised if the Azerite gear gets automatically deleted, and instead replaced with some kind of goofy item or whatever. I'll also not be surprised if the Shadowland legendaries just get deleted after Shadowlands. I mean, they already did it for the Covenant abilities in past zones, because some of those let you do things a hell of a lot faster than what we have with BFA. Now, right now, as of right now, you can theoretically, in Shadowlands pre-patch, still have your Azerite gear and your essences. Crucial, but if they're doing that with Shadowlands Covenant abilities now, and what they're doing with Legion Legendaries, you just turn the page and it's probably going to be the same story for the other expansions. Now, I have high hopes that maybe the outcry from the collectors communities will actually speak on this behalf. However, we are grouped up, spread out too scatteredly versus a very unifying corporation. Our voices need to be unified and heard. And, I mean, it's even to the point where certain classes are just flat out better to farm old content, to where people have to make alts and probably even re-roll just so they can farm old content faster, because their main will have enough gear and the right abilities to farm old content. That is why I believe that they're doing all these shenanigans. Not because, they're going to make Shadowlands really good. No, they're going to make it okay. But they're mainly focused on is the current community able to get that 1% drop of a raid. And some people already have those. And those are going to be the first ones they're going to end subscriptions. And then when finally someone gets it, or maybe just bump into it or whatever, like I have, they're going to look at like, well, I got invincible after 3 years of farming. 3 years times 3 times 12 times 4, let's just say 17. That's how much subscription money alone. And if you boosted characters just to get more extra chance to get that 1% drop, that's an extra 60 for every single one of those. So, mathematically, Blizzard, in theory, made at least $4,000 off me alone. And there's some other people that spend way more money than me, and that's not including the WoW tokens. Not saying I bought a lot of WoW tokens except for the Brutosaur. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that bought a lot of WoW tokens Brutosaur because, geez, the day after I did that, they announced Brutosaur was no longer going to be buyable. I'm like, well, in pre-patch that is, but still, same concept. The point is, they're making it harder to do pass raid farm. And with everything being scaled to 50, that means you have to have max level and somewhat current content to even farm older raids that you could just one-shot before with, let's say, Draenor gear even. That's what it's coming down to now, is how fast you can farm old content, because old content was better content, for more or less. And to have the cool items. How many people besides farming for the Jaina mount, is there a group or Argus for farming the mythic Squid Boy or whatever? Or Jellyfish? Not many. Because it's hard content. Which makes that price go way up. It also makes it to where you can't really get it. And after Shadowland drops, that's going to become a 1% chance. And guess what? It's still going to be just as hard to pull off. Because even with, my theory here is max level Shadowland gear, mythic raid tier Shadowland gear, it is going to still be just as hard to pull off mythic, because you already have to use what happens with the cape corruption being gone? Does that mean the whole N'Zoth raid is no longer able to enter because you don't have the corruption resist from the cape? Is that going to be a big bug that Blizzard's not going to fix until 10.5 or 11.3? And yeah, I'm not missaying. I'm literally saying 2 expansions from now, or 3, if it lasts even that long. Or maybe the cape is just, the corruption resist 50. Maybe it's treat it like visions. I mean, what's going to happen to visions? Are they going to just delete that too? Anyways, I don't want to take too much time, and I just want to say right now, this is all the Covenant stuff. It's all the changes are trying to make sure that you cannot speedrun old content to where they get more subscription money. That's my bottom line. Thanks, guys. Good luck, Gum Nation.